I am Elena Carter, 38, and for 10 years I've held together a marriage that was already breaking long before I realized I was the only one fighting for it. I didn't know it then, but the morning my alarm buzzed from the cracked screen of my old iPhone 8 would be the last ordinary morning of my life, the one before I discovered what Victor had really been hiding from me. I'd slide out from under the threadbare duvet in our Lakeview two-bedroom walk-up, careful not to wake him, and pad barefoot across the cold hardwood floors that always smelled faintly of last night's takeout and his cologne. The radiator clanked like a dying robot every time the heat kicked on, a sound that had become the soundtrack of our winters. In the kitchenette, barely big enough for two people to pass without brushing hips, I'd measure coffee grounds with the precision of a chemist, because Victor liked it strong enough to wake the dead, and I liked not hearing him complain. By 7:15 I was on the red line, standing room only, clutching a paper cup of that same coffee while the train lurched toward the south side. My job at the nonprofit coordinating after-school programs for kids whose parents worked 3 jobs just to keep the lights on, paid $48,000 a year before taxes. It was the only steady income we had. Victor's startup law, an AI-driven freight optimization app he described in pitch decks as Uber for trucking but smarter, existed mostly in Google Slides and late-night rants about investors who just didn't get it. I paid the rent. I paid the maxed-out credit cards he used for networking dinners at Gibson's or RPM Steak, where a single entree cost more than my weekly grocery budget. I ate peanut butter on slightly stale wheat bread, crusts cut off, because that's how Victor liked his sandwiches when I packed them, even though he rarely ate them. I told myself it was temporary, that one day his big break would come, and we'd trade this cramped, echoing life for something spacious and sunlit. A house with a yard, maybe children, a future where I wasn't the only one holding everything together with duct tape, hope, and a smile that was starting to crack at the edges. October 14th, 2025, began like any other Tuesday. I kissed Victor goodbye while he pretended to sleep his breathing to even, his phone clutched under the pillow like a secret. I took the L downtown, transferred to the Blue Line, and arrived at Ellis & Partners by 9:30 for a meeting I thought was about estate planning for a donor. Instead, I was led into Mr. Ellison's corner office, a mahogany-paneled sanctuary that smelled of lemon polish, old paper, and the faint metallic temps of money. The executardy, if he was a day, liver-spotted hands trembling, Liddy adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses and slid a single manila folder across the desk like he was passing a sacred relic. Your uncle, Reginald Carter, your mother's brother, passed 6 months ago in a cabin outside Estes Park, Colorado. No children, no spouse. His entire estate, managed through a blind trust since 1998, goes to you. My fingers went numb as I opened it. The number stared back in crisp black ink. Asterisk, asterisk, $42 million.00, asterisk, asterisk, not a typo. $42 million in Vanguard index funds, treasury bonds, municipal securities, and a quiet portfolio of Midwestern real estate warehouses in Pilsen that hummed with forklift activity, a medical office building in Oak Brook with a waiting list of tenants, a downtown parking garage that generated 6 figures a month in revenue alone, Reginald the family ghost who sent birthday cards with $20 bills. Tucked inside and vanished into the Rockies when I was 12, had been sitting on a fortune, and he'd chosen me, not Laura, the golden child, married to Ryan Brooks of Old Carolina money, living in a Hinsdale mansion with marble countertops and a wine cellar deeper than our entire apartment, not my mother Margaret, who still clipped coupons from the Sunday paper and bragged about Laura's perfect life at every family gathering. Me, the nonprofit coordinator, who clipped her own coupons just to buy Victor's favorite hazy IPA, was crying before I reached the underground garage, tears blurring the fluorescent lights into halos of gold. My hands shook so badly I had to dial Victor twice. The concrete walls echoed my sobs: joy, disbelief, salvation. Victor, oh my God, you won't believe Uncle. Reginald left everything to me. 42 million, we're rich. We're rich. Silence on the line. Not the explosive whoop I expected. A slow, measured inhale. Then, where are you exactly? His voice was low, urgent, like he was stepping away from a crowd. Still in the garage at Ellis & Partners. I'm coming home now. No, come straight home. And Alina, don't tell anyone. Not Laura, not your mom, nobody. This is ours. Understand? I was too high on possibility to hear the edge in his tone, the way his words curled like smoke. Yes, yes, Of course, I love you. I hung up, shifted my 2015 Honda Civic into drive, and merged onto I-290, the Chicago skyline shrinking in my rear view like a bad dream finally ending. The radio played an old jazz standard, Miles Davis, trumpet curling through the speakers like silk. I rolled the window down, let the wind whip my hair into a frenzy, and imagined Victor's face when I walked through the door, his eyes wide with wonder, his arms around me, the weight of 10 years lifting off both our shoulders in a single breath. I pictured the house we'd buy, the vacations we'd take, the children we'd finally feel ready for. I pictured a life where I wasn't the only one carrying the load. Slow, I never saw the headlights. They came out of nowhere. Not a drift, not a swerve, a hunt. A black Cadillac Escalade, tinted windows darker than midnight, no plates visible, crossed 2 lanes of traffic at 70 miles an hour, and aimed for my driver's door. I remember the exact sound, a metallic crunch like the world folding in half. The airbag punched my face with the force of a boxer's hook. Glass became shrapnel, slicing through the air in slow-motion arcs. My ribs snapped like dry branches under a boot. The steering wheel jerked from my grip. The world tilted. My head slammed against the window. The last thing I saw before blacking out was the Escalade's taillights vanishing into the dusk. Red eyes winking out like a predator satisfied with its kill. I woke to the rhythmic beep-beep-beep of a heart monitor. Fluorescent lights stabbed my eyes like needles. Horizon Medical Center, room 312, 5 days lost to coma. My body was a battlefield. 3 fractured ribs on the left, grinding with every shallow breath. 2 on the right, sending white-hot spikes through my side. A concussion that made the room spin like a carnival ride gone wrong. Lacerations across my arms stitched with black thread that pulled when I moved. A crescent-shaped gash on my left temple already scabbing into a permanent reminder. A scar that would tell the story long after the pain faded. And the 4th dripped cold saline into my vein. A catheter burned with every shift of my hips. My phone lay on the tray table. Screen shattered into a spiderweb of cracks that caught the light like frost. I pressed the call button until my thumb cramped, the plastic warm from my grip. Attendant Maria entered mid-50s, teal scrubs faded from countless washes, kind eyes ringed with the exhaustion of 1,000 night shifts and too many tragedies. My husband Victor Hale, where is he? Her sigh was a warning, heavy with unspoken truth. No visits, no calls. We tried your emergency contact multiple times. I laughed, the sound hysterical and foreign in my throat. He's probably on a work trip. His startup. She handed me the bedside phone, her face unreadable, the lines around her mouth deepening. My fingers slipped twice, dialing his number, slick with sweat. Jazz pulsed in the background when he answered, saxophone weaving through the line. Clinking glasses, a woman's laugh sharp as breaking crystal. Alina, I'm in a meeting. Victor, I'm in the hospital. Accident, coma, 5 days. Broken ribs. The music didn't stop. The laughter didn't pause. Seriously, always something with you. I'm building something real here, and you're a burden. No time, no money for incompetence. You're on your own. Click. The dial tone was louder than the crash, a flat line of its own. Maria returned with pain meds, morphine swirling in a syringe like liquid mercy. She saw my face and didn't flinch. He was here, you know. Day 1. Told, the new nurse went to 2 fresh out of school. He needed your belongings for safekeeping. She handed over your purse without a second thought. My stomach dropped into freefall. Billing alerts, she whispered, voice low as if the walls were listening. 5,000 at Neiman Marcus yesterday. 3,000 at Gibson's Steakhouse the night before. Your platinum card. I stared at the beige wall, the paint chipped in one corner like a scar. The word incompetence echoed in my skull, a drumbeat of betrayal. 10 years of leftovers, of you're my rock, Alina. Of believing his failures were our failures, of swallowing my own dreams so his could breathe. And now, while I fought for every breath in a coma, he was shopping, dining, laughing. The realization settled like ice in my veins, crystallizing into something sharp and unbreakable. I called my sister Laura, next golden child, married to Ryan Brooks of Old Carolina money, living in a Hinsdale mansion with marble countertops, a wine cellar deeper than our apartment, and a 3-car garage that housed a Porsche, a Range Rover, and whatever new toy Ryan had impulse bought that month. Laura, Victor stole my wallet. He tried to kill me for the inheritance. Her laugh was a blade, cold and precise. Jealous much. We're at Ryan's firm barbecue. Victor's here networking with partners. Stop embarrassing us. She hung up before I could scream. I sat in that sterile room, heart monitor, beeping my rage into existence, each pulse a war drum. Family wasn't safety. It was the trap. Mr. Ellison, dispatched Clara Beaumont's senior partner at Ellison Partners. Litigator legendary for dismantling corporate empires, in court with the precision of a surgeon, she arrived the next afternoon, 6 feet of tailored menace, in a charcoal Armani suit that cost more than my annual salary. Heels clicking like gunfire across the linoleum. Thought I expected an ally, a savior. Instead, Victor entered, first emerald, Tom Ford suit, gleaming under the fluorescence, my card. Arm possessively around Clara's waist like she was a trophy. Meet my fiancé, he smirked, tossing divorce papers onto my blanket with the casual cruelty of a man discarding trash. The top page screamed in bold, asterisk, asterisk, petition for dissolution of marriage, mental instability due to post-traumatic stress, asterisk, asterisk sign, he said, voice dripping with false concern. You're unstable. Post-accident trauma. We'll manage the money for you. Clara, board, marked signature lines with a gold Mont Blanc pen that glinted like a weapon. Hurry, I have a 3 p.m. at the Peninsula. She leaned to check my wristband, Alina Carter, and froze. The chart at the foot of my bed confirmed everything. Asterisk, asterisk, heir to the Reginald Carter Trust, $42 million, managed by Ellis and Partners. Asterisk, asterisk, her obsidian Hermes briefcase hit the floor with a thud that rattled the ivy stand and sent the heart monitor into a brief frenzy. Papers scattered like confetti at a funeral. A tube of Chanel lipstick rolled under the bed. You hired me to steal from my own client with her stolen money. Victor stammered, baby, you're confused. Clara's scream brought security before he could finish. 2 ex-Special Forces guards, Mr. Ellison's private detail, built like linebackers, tackled Victor mid-lunge for my throat. Security, Clara shrieked, voice cracking like a whip. The larger guard drove his shoulder into Victor's gut, lifting him clean off the ground. The second pinned his arms behind his back with practiced efficiency. Zip ties snapped into place. Victor's face, pressed to the linoleum, was purple with rage, veins bulging. Ryan Brooks will get me out. He'll finish her. Police arrived within minutes, sirens wailing faintly in the distance. Clara, reputation on the line and fury in her eyes, became my weapon. She froze every account tied to Victor's name, pulled server logs showing his failed attempts to impersonate me and access the trust using forged emails, and stationed the guards outside my door 24/7. I was moved that night to the Ritz-Carlton presidential suite under the alias E. Regan. Floor to ceiling, windows overlooked Lake Michigan, the water black and endless under a bruised sky. But I didn't see the view. I saw evidence. Investigator Paul rumpled linen shirt stained with coffee, eyes like worn granite that had seen too many lies delivered, manila folders, thick as phone books. The Escalade cloned plates, real ones traced to Brooks Ventures LLC, Ryan's personal slush fund disguised as a real estate holding company. Wire transfer, $75,000 to a burner account in the Caymans 2 days before the crash. Routed through 3 shell companies. Jail calls. Victor to Ryan, she knows everything. Get me out or we all burn. Victor to Laura, tell your husband if I go down, you go with me. Every text, every call. Laura's texts, pulled from her iCloud backup. Hurry up and get it done. Mom's affidavit is ready. She'll say Elena's been unstable since Dad died. Mom Margaret Washington Carter signed a sworn statement on official letterhead. Asterisk Elena has suffered from delusions of grandeur and persecution since childhood. She is unfit to manage finances and requires immediate conservatorship. Asterisk they planned murder with the precision of a boardroom takeover. When I survived, Plan B, conservatorship. Declare me incompetent. Lock me in a state facility like the one in Elgin where the walls were padded and the windows barred. Divide the fortune like vultures over carrion. Slow the full conspiracy unfolded like a horror movie. I was trapped inside. Every frame more grotesque than the last dot. Clara paced the suite like a general before battle. Heels sinking into the plush carpet. They want a public circus. We give them 1 hour terms. Paul's team monitored the Brooks household via court-ordered surveillance. Monday victory dinner at Mom's suburban split level in Oak Park. Prime rib, good china, crystal wine glasses, toasting my embarrassment and Ryan's impending control of the trust. I spent 2 hours in the suite's marble bathroom transforming under the guidance of a stylist. Clara flew in from New York, hair pulled into a severe chignon that pulled at my scalp like punishment. Crimson power suit, tailored overnight by a rush seamstress from Nordstrom, the fabric heavy with authority, the crescent-shaped scar on my temple visible, proud, a receipt from their assassination attempt. We drove in silence through the city, streetlights flickering like judgment. 2 unmarked sedans followed, detectives inside clutching warrants like loaded guns. Mom's house smelled of roast chicken, rosemary, and betrayal. The front door was unlocked. Sunday ritual carried to Monday hubris, a family too arrogant to fear consequences. From the foyer shadow, I heard them, Margaret decrying my deceit for hiding the money from the people who raised me, Laura praising Ryan's brilliant legal strategy, Ryan's slow Carolina drawl about finder's fees for enduring that pathetic sister all these years, laughter light, relieved, victorious, the sound of predators celebrating a kill. I stepped into the dining room light, pause, 5 South china rattled as forks froze midair, wine glasses halted halfway to lips, Mom's mouth hung open, mashed potatoes visible on her tongue, Laura's eyes bulged like a cartoon character, Ryan's face drained to corpse pale, his tan lines suddenly stark. Clara's heels announced judgment with each deliberate click. Ryan Brooks, you're under arrest for attempted murder in the 1st degree. The warrant slapped onto the roast like a gauntlet. Laura Brooks, conspiracy to commit murder, and grand larceny. Her texts read aloud by a stone-faced detective. Mom has already agreed to testify. Alina is unstable. Just get the crash done. Detectives cuffed them amid chaos. Ryan blaming Laura. She pushed me into this. Laura screaming, you ruined me. I had a life. I faced Mom last. She sat frozen, gravy cooling on her plate, like congealed blood. You always called me the failure, I said, voice steady as the lake outside my window. Your golden boy tried to kill me. Your golden girl helped plan it. And you were the star witness, ready to lock your own daughter away from money. She aged 10 years in a second, wrinkles deepening like cracks in porcelain. I turned and walked out. The screen door slammed like a gavel in a silent courtroom. The fallout was surgical, precise, and merciless. Victor's trial was a 3-ring circus broadcast on local news. The prosecution played the hospital security footage on loop vector, lunging for my throat. Guards tackling him, his scream about Ryan finishing the job echoing through the courtroom. Server logs showed him attempting to transfer $10 million from the trust, using a deepfake voice. Memo of me saying yes to a fake authorization form. The judge, a black woman with zero patience for entitlement and a reputation for harsh sentences, called him a parasite on his own community. A man who weaponized love to destroy it. Asterisk, 28 years, no parole. Asterisk, as the sentence was read. Victor in his orange jumpsuit turned to me in the gallery. No remorse. Just hate. Pure and venomous. Ryan took a plea to avoid a life sentence, confessed to hiring the driver through a dark web contact, funding the crash with laundered money, orchestrating the conservatorship filings, blamed Laura. She was consumed with jealousy. She said Alina didn't deserve it. The judge gave him 18 years and revoked his financial licenses permanently. His Carolina family disowned Laura, not him. Cut her off from the trust, the house, the name, the country club membership. She lost everything before the gavel even fell. LaRoche convicted. As accomplice after a trial where her own texts were read aloud to a stunned jury. 12 years, her appeals drained her last accounts, forcing her to sell the designer handbags one by one on the Mom's house foreclosed. 6 months later, she moved to a senior apartment in Cicero, with peeling wallpaper and a view of a parking lot, photos of her golden children face down in a drawer. She leaves voicemails, hundreds of them, sometimes angry. How could you do this to your own mother? Sometimes begging Alina, please, I'm alone. Sometimes just crying, wordless sobs that go on for minutes. I never answer. I deleted the voicemail box entirely. The $42 million is mine, invested conservatively in a diversified portfolio that grows quietly while I sleep. A foundation launched in Uncle Reginald's name, the Carter Resilience Fund for domestic violence survivors. Women labeled unstable or hysterical by families who want control. Legal aid for those fighting conservatorship abuse. I speak at conferences now. Crimson suit my armor, scar my credential. They called me incompetent. I tell audiences of hundreds, my voice amplified through microphones. But survival is the ultimate competence. Strength isn't loud. It's the quiet decision to keep breathing when everything tells you to stop. I bought a penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, 42nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows that frame the water like a living painting. The view is just glass and water now, no longer a symbol of escape. I date cautiously an architect named Marcus who loves my mind before my portfolio, who traces the scar on my temple with gentle fingers and calls it your badge of honor. I mentor young women labeled dramatic or difficult by parents who see ambition as threat. I sleep without nightmares. The lake winds rattling my windows like applause from a city that finally sees me. Money is a mirror, not a mask. It didn't corrupt my family, it stripped the varnish, revealing rot that had always been there. 42 million illuminated every fracture. Victor's resentment that I was the stable one. Laura's envy that I was chosen. Ryan's entitlement to anything he wanted. Mom's favoritism that painted me as the eternal failure. I was never the failure. I was the threat to their narrative, their access, their illusion of superiority. The crash, the coma, the courtroom, they were crucibles. Fire that burned away the lies and forged something unbreakable. What emerged is Elena 2.0, trustee, philanthropist, survivor, woman who turned betrayal into a legacy.